Most people think gardens are built from seeds and soil, but the truest garden they begin with empty pots. Come closer, sit among the quiet rows. If the story plants something gentle in you tonight, water it by subscribing, so you will always know the way back to this little patch of peace. Now, listen to Garden of Empty Pots. At the edge of the village Saint Orin lay a stretch of land that never quite decided what it wanted to be, half meadow, half dust. Children call it the forgotten field, adults call it a waste. But one spring morning an old man with a cart full of clay pots came rattling down the path. His name was Hugo Leclerc, retired gardener from the royal greenhouse long ago. The villagers only knew him as Old Hugo, the man who talked to his plants as if they were his grandchildren. He stopped in the middle of the field, looked around, and said softly, "Perfect. There's nothing here, and that's exactly what I need." Oh, child, empty places frighten most people, but emptiness is where meaning finds room to grow. Years before, Hugo Leclerc had tended the royal gardens, a maze of marble fountain and roses bred to look like jewels. Huge own medals, praise, even the king's handshake. But when war came, the palace grounds were trampled into mud, and the king fled. Hugo stayed, planting cabbages in the ruins. Beauty, he told himself, must learn to feed people. When peace returned, he left quietly, taking with him only a small crate of empty clay pots. Each pot had once had a prized flower that had died during the siege. He never refilled them. He said they were his reminders. Children gathered as he unpacked his cart. One girl asked, "Monsieur Hugo, where are the flowers?" He smiled. "They are on the way." "But these pots are empty." He winked. "Exactly. The flowers will find its space they need." The children giggled, thinking him eccentric. But the next morning, when they came back, they found something curious. Hugo had arranged all the empty pots in neat rows, each labeled with a little sign: patience, kindness, forgiveness, courage, hope, and beside them a watering can. He told the children, "Water them every day, even if nothing grows, because sometimes the invisible needs the most care." Adults laughed. "Old Hugo's lost his mind," they said, but the children watched anyway. Weeks passed, weeds grew around the pots, but inside nothing. Until one morning, a boy named Louis shouted, "Look!" In the pot marked patience, a single green shoot had appeared. The children cheered, the adult shrugged. Coincidence? But more sprouts came, slowly, unevenly, like shy guests arriving late. Soon the entire field shimmered with tiny green beginnings. One afternoon, the baker's wife came to Hugo. "My son broke his violin and wouldn't play again. What should I do?" Hugo pointed to the pot labeled "Forgiveness." "Tell him even broken strings hum when the wind is kind." Another villager complained, "My neighbor wouldn't return my ladder." Hugo smiled. "Then plant patience again. It grows slowly, but lasts longest." Word spread that the old man gave advice through plants that hadn't yet bloomed. Somehow it worked. Argument softened, neighbors shared tools, and the laughter returned to Saint Orin. Then came the summer of drought. The river shrunk, the soil cracked, the green turned to brown. Villagers stopped watering the pots. Pointless, they said. Even the children stayed away, their little hands too hot to hope. Hugo alone walked to the field each evening, pouring his last cup of water into the dry pots. When the mayor found him one day, he snapped, You are wasting that little water we have." Hugo nodded gently. "Perhaps, but the soil still listens, even when we don't." The night under the sky cracked with lightning. Hugo collapsed beside the pot marked Hope. Rain came next morning, heavy, furious, merciful. Villagers rushed out with buckets and barrels. When they reached the field, they found Hugo laying there, soaked and still, a peaceful smile on his face. The pots overflowed, and for the first time flowers bloomed, hundreds of them in every color imaginable. Each pot held a different blossom: sunflower for patience, lavender for forgiveness, roses for kindness, and in the pot labeled Hope, the one beside which he had fallen, grew a small tree with silver leaves. The children cried, the adults bowed their heads. Someone whispered, "He gave his last water to us." Years passed. The field became known as Les Jardins du Vide, the Garden of Emptiness. Except it was never empty again. People came from neighboring villages to see it. They didn't pick the flowers. They sat among the pots and listened, the wind humming through the clay. The children who had once watched them grow and become teachers, bakers, nurses, but each kept a small empty pot on their windowsill. Whenever life felt too crowded, they would look at it and remembered old Hugo's voice. Growth needs space. Leave something unfilled. A new caretaker tended the field now, a young woman named Amelie, Hugo's granddaughter from the city. He had never met him in her life, but she had found his journal after his passing. Inside, he had written, "If ever you forget what to plant emptiness. It never fails to grow meaning." Amelie followed his advice. He left half the pot empty each year, telling visitors they were reserved for tomorrow. Oh, my dear one, you spend our days filling schedules, rooms, and hearts until there's no place to wander, to sit. Hugo taught his village the oldest lesson of the earth, that emptiness isn't lack, it's invitation. The seed does not fear the dark soil, it trusts it, and so should we. Leave a little space in your days for things to bloom on their own, and that's how life surprises the patient. If this story left a seed in your heart, water it with a click. Subscribe so you will find this garden again tomorrow. Next time, we will wander beyond the fields to where ordinary people keep extraordinary promises. Until then, dear one, keep a small empty pot near your window. It will remind you that not everything missing is lost.